Cristiano Ronaldo was never just a football player. From the outside, it looked like a sports career. Goals, trophies, records. But behind that surface, something much larger was forming. A global attention system, a financial empire built quietly inside fame. Because in the modern world, athletes don't just earn salaries anymore. They build ecosystems. And Ronaldo understood this before most people even realized it was possible. At first, it was simple. Performance on the field. But every performance created something invisible. Attention. And attention is where everything begins. Because attention doesn't just create fame, it creates money flow. It creates brand value. It creates long-term financial leverage. And slowly, Ronaldo became one of the most valuable attention assets on the planet. But here is where the story shifts. Because attention alone is not wealth. Attention is just the raw material. The real transformation happens when attention is converted into structure. And Ronaldo did exactly that, as his fame expanded globally. So did the commercial ecosystem around him. Luxury brands noticed him first, then fashion companies, then fitness industries, then global corporations, then investment groups. Because wherever attention exists at scale, money follows automatically. And Ronaldo had something extremely rare. Consistent global attention. Not seasonal, not temporary, global and continuous. This is what makes his financial position unique. But what most people see is only the surface. The luxury lifestyle, the private jets, the expensive watches, the hypercars, the mansions. But each of these is not just consumption, it is positioning. Because in modern celebrity economics, luxury is not just spending, luxury is branding. And Ronaldo mastered this perfectly. Every luxury watch he wears sends a message. Every car he drives becomes a visual asset. Every appearance reinforces a psychological identity. Power, discipline, success, control, and exclusivity. These are not random lifestyle choices. They are emotional signals that strengthen brand value. Because audiences don't just watch celebrities anymore, they study them, they compare themselves to them, they emotionally attach to them, and this attachment creates economic value. But behind the luxury layer, there is a deeper financial system operating silently. Because high income without structure collapses quickly, especially in global fame environments. Taxes alone become a massive financial force. International income streams create complexity. Different countries, different tax systems, different financial obligations without structure. Wealth leaks silently. This is why elite athletes surround themselves with financial systems, not just advisors, but entire structures, legal structures, tax optimization systems, investment frameworks, asset protection strategies. Because at that level, money is not just earned, it is managed like a global corporation. And Ronaldo operates inside that reality. But the more interesting layer is how his attention itself generates value continuously, even when he is not playing, even when he is not performing, even when he is not physically active in sport. His identity continues producing economic activity, because modern attention does not stop working, it compounds. A single image of Ronaldo can circulate for years. A single clip can generate millions of views repeatedly. A single moment can become cultural memory, and cultural memory has financial value. This is why companies invest heavily in him, because they are not buying a person, they are buying access to attention networks. Millions of people connected emotionally, and emotionally connected audiences are the most powerful form of market influence. But there is another layer. Most people ignore. Luxury also creates psychological distance. The more successful a person becomes, the more their lifestyle separates from average reality. Private jets replace normal travel. Luxury cars replace standard vehicles. Exclusive hotels replace public experiences. And over time, this creates a different psychological environment. A world where expectations are higher, standards are different, costs are amplified, and even normal decisions become financially significant. But Ronaldo's case is different from many celebrities, because he did not just consume luxury, he converted it into identity architecture. His watches are not just expensive objects, they are signals of status positioning. His cars are not just transportation, they are visual reinforcement of success, identity. His homes are not just residences, they are controlled environments of brand stability. Everything becomes part of a larger system, and that system is built on one principle: consistency. because in the attention economy, consistency is more valuable than intensity. Virality is temporary, consistency is permanent, and permanence creates financial power. But the real transformation happened when Ronaldo stopped being just an athlete and became a global commercial structure. His brand became independent of the football field. That is the true shift, because when income is no longer tied to performance, it becomes tied to identity. And identity is scalable. It can exist in multiple industries simultaneously: sports, fashion, fitness, hospitality, digital media, global branding. And this multi-industry presence is what creates billionaire-level ecosystems. Not salary, not single revenue streams, but diversified influence across sectors. However, behind all this success, there is also a hidden psychological cost. Because maintaining global identity requires constant discipline, not just physical discipline, but emotional discipline, financial discipline, behavioral discipline. Because everything becomes visible, everything becomes interpreted, everything becomes part of public narrative. And that level of visibility creates pressure most people never experience. But Ronaldo managed this pressure through structure. And structure is what separates temporary fame from long-term empire building. Because fame can be emotional, but empires must be systematic. And this is where investments come in. Real estate becomes stability. Business ownership becomes leverage. Brand equity becomes long-term valuation. Global partnerships become expansion channels. Insurance becomes protection against volatility. Tax structuring becomes preservation of wealth. And cash flow systems become sustainability. This is the invisible layer of wealth that most audiences never see. Because social media only shows outcomes, not systems: cars, watches, houses, luxury trips, but not the architecture behind it. And that is where misunderstanding begins. People think wealth is visible, but real wealth is structured and often invisible. Ronaldo's empire represents that hidden reality. A system where attention creates income, but structure converts income into lasting power. Because attention without structure disappears, but attention with structure compounds. And this is why his financial empire continues growing, even beyond peak athletic years, because he is no longer dependent on performance alone. He is operating inside a diversified system of global influence. And in today's economy, that is the highest level of financial positioning possible. Not just fame, not just wealth, but engineered attention converted into structured, long-term, multi-industry financial power. And that is why Cristiano Ronaldo is no longer just a name in football history. He is a living example of how modern attention, when properly structured, becomes a billion-dollar financial empire.